Okay, so we're back here. We're back in the studio, and we just saw the finished compositions we did. Just some simple, we did a lemon and an apple. And we're trying to just understand a little more and focus in on local color and light and shadow in our painting. So those three things are very important. Local color, that's the inherent color of an object, regardless of light and the effects of light and shadow. And of course, highlights and shadows are, highlights would be where the light's coming from. You'll see more of a lighter, brighter effect on an object, which lightens everything. And then the shadow side of an object, let's say that we're painting, you're going to see more of a cooler, darker looking effect on the subject matter that you might be painting or we might be painting together here. So let's just kind of do it in a very straightforward fashion. We'll start out with an apple, and we'll do it over here on the left side. So maybe we'll divide our page in half. And we'll start out with an apple over here. So I'm just going to do an apple. And there's a shadow there, so I'll do the shadow along with the apple, like that. There's maybe a stem. Okay, so we have our apple. We did a contour drawing. We just followed the shape of the apple sitting across from us. I'm using a photograph. I'm using a watercolor painting, so I'm using this. So this is, I'll use this. This is just a example I have in my studio here. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to set this across from me, and now I'm drawing from that. Okay, now we're going to, just so we kind of get an idea now, so maybe we'll put a back. This is like the table in the back, so we'll make a little line. Perhaps this is sitting on a table, a white tablecloth, and we have our the back of the table here, and this is the background. So let's just remember now, we're going to try to key in on local color, light, and shadow in this exercise. So we're going to focus in on light, local color, and shadow. So this is something really important. I think I've had this on my channel before. At least one or two videos we've covered this, but I always like to cover this every once in a while for the new people coming on to my channel. I appreciate all of you, and thanks so much for coming by. I really appreciate it, and all the people that follow me on a regular basis. We always chat in the comments, and I appreciate all of you, and you're always encouraging and sending me really very kind comments, and I appreciate everybody. And as we're always on the channel together here, there'll always be new people coming in, so we try to just bring the newer people that are coming into the channel now and following along with us all. We're all working here on our watercolors, getting better, practicing our exercises, practicing our paintings, whatever we're working on. It's always watercolor. So the newer people that are coming in, they might be already painting some years, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, but they might be learning new techniques. So we're going to just bring everybody up to speed. Once in a while, we have to bring everyone up to speed the same. So the newer people here on my channel, some of the people that you've been here a while, you already know this, and you probably use this all the time in your paintings, and it's always a fun thing too, just to do a quick painting of an apple or a lemon or an orange or whatever. It's always fun to do that. So, but this is the three main things again: local color, light, and shadow, and we'll just kind of go along here and we'll discuss it as we paint. So we did our contour drawing. And then we have our water here. So I have to change out my water. I also wanted to clean up the palette a little bit. Let's spritz this. I use a spritzer bottle to keep my palette clean. So I spritz around the paints, the palette. I always use paper towels to wipe up the old paint that's from another painting from yesterday or earlier today. So I keep the palette nice and clean here. And I usually have my bucket of water, and then what I usually do is I'll take a fan brush, an old fan brush that I have, and I just stir the water around and get all the sediment and everything that's in the bottom of the bucket. I like to just stir that around, stir it around, get all that sediment and things off the bottom of the bucket, because that can really affect your painting if you're having all kinds of sediment and things. When you're painting, you want to always use fresh water, and I would say, try to change out your buckets, your water bucket probably 2-3 times as you're doing a painting. Every so often you change out your water so that you have fresh, clean water. So we'll do that. And then I just use an orange juice container with water. And I'll just fill this up a little bit, a couple inches in the bottom. And then we'll get our brush here. Let's use I'm going to use a Da Vinci, and this is a number 6, Da Vinci Maestro number 6. Round brush, watercolor, Kolinsky Sable brush hairs. And now what we're going to do is, all this paint is very soft, very moist. I always keep my paints soft and moist. How I do that is I just wet a paper towel and put this in the palette. So I wet this paper towel, make it damp, and then I spritz my paints. So if we were right now wrapping this up for the day, I would take the paper towel, put it in, spray it with a little bit of water with the spritzer bottle. Then I would close up the palette, and then I would put it in a small Ziploc bag. So I always put my palette, once I close it all up with the paper towel, I take my Ziploc bag, I put it in there, and then I put it in a small refrigerator that I have in my studio so it stays cool. So now we're going to, let's make this apple. It's going to be alizarin crimson and some cadmium red. A little bit of burnt umber. Okay, and then we're going to start out, and we're going to do the local color first, which is the center of the apple. This is the inerrant color of the apple, that red color. And here we're going to work quickly. We can't wait too much. The paint's already starting to dry. So now that we have that red color of the apple, if there was no light or shadow in the room, that would be the color of the apple no matter what. The inerrant color of the apple. Then we say the light side of the apple is going to be, maybe I'll go with a little bit of rose madder there. That's going to be lighter. And there's going to be some light on there. And I'm going to leave a little bit of white on the apple there. If you go outside the lines, no problem. And then we just work that to get those colors together like that. So now you can see that then I'll add a little more, I'll charge in a little more alizarin crimson there at the bottom. Then we're going to go with some shadow. Shadow color, let's go with burnt umber, raw umber, and then maybe a little bit of French ultramarine blue. We'll make it a decent dark, and a little bit of water to that so that it's not completely straight paint, but just a touch of water, not much. And let's just do a nice little dark shadow there. And we'll fuse it right in with the apple, the bottom of the apple. Then we're going to go with a little bit of cobalt blue for the shadow side of the apple. So let's get a little bit of cobalt blue out on the palette. Let's put some there. That's the shadow side. And let's fuse that together with some more. And there we go. We have the shadow side. Maybe a little bit of purple. And then let's go with maybe a little bit of burnt umber on the top over here. And sometimes you might have to add a little more paint. Then we loosen up a little, couple splashes. And if you have too much splashing, you say, I don't like that, no big deal. You take some tissue and you just lift up. And then it becomes just a tiny little bit of splash there. You'll just see a little tiny bit of color on the paper, but not much at all. Like that. And then maybe a little bit of the blue and purple. That's all. Just to excite the scene a little bit, make it a little more interesting. Okay, now let's do some of the background. Let's use some more of that blue and purple. And I just added a little bit of the blue and purple right here, from here, right to the paper. A little bit of yellow ochre. Just to and that's good. If it's a little mysterious looking, that's fine. Let the water and the paint mingle together and have a fun time. That's what's great about watercolor. You can like just let things flow, move some, it takes time to get the feel of it. This is what these exercises are about. The more you do these exercises with, let's say, just some simple items like some fruit, some vegetables, a coffee cup, a tea cup, things like that. You do these small compositions and you get a feel for the watercolor medium, because you're not really so stressed about I'm creating a full-size painting, but you're just working on small compositions. Does that make sense? Pressure's off here. We're just doing compositions, having a fun time together, and we're just learning some things, and also there's no pressure at all. And then we can take our tissue and maybe lift up a little bit of paint over here like that, just like that. There we go. That's the light side. Then we can a little bit of cerulean blue. So if we can add a little bit of excitement with some colors here and there, what will be ahead of the game. And we used a lot of warm colors, reds, and then we have some blue in there, which looks great. Some French ultramarine. And I think that's good. So now we're going to look at this from again, from that perspective of light, local color, and shadow. And then as we can see, if we just were to do another quick example of this, just on the paper. Okay, a little bit of blue, purple. So we're just trying to make the quick and if we do this, And then we lift up a little bit of paint here. Okay, now we have the three ingredients we were looking for, the three components to our painting, and we're going to try to Okay, so we had local color, shadow, and then light is over here, like that. So our light source is coming from here, of course. That's our light source. We could draw it up here too. Okay, that's our light source. That could be our lamp, our spotlight. And the same for this. So we have our spotlight here. That's the light coming from here. It strikes the apple here. We also have just normal room lighting, light fixtures that are in the room. That's the local color. So that's the actual color of the apple if we if we didn't have any spotlight on this scene or this piece of fruit, this apple. If we had no spotlight, then this whole side over here would be the local color. And we wouldn't see much shadow either, because this spotlight, when it shines on this apple from this side, it's going to automatically create a darker shadow over here because of the light, the way the light goes across this subject matter, this apple. And then you have your shadow from the light fixture. So you have your shadow on the left. So you have your three components. That's really important. So that would be the same if you're doing a building outdoors or anything, a house, a building, a street scene. If you're doing trees in a landscape scene, if you might be doing some outdoor painting near the shore and you have boats or the ocean and rocks, you'll see light, sunlight striking rocks, and then shadows on the other side of the rock, and you might see the inherent local color of the rocks more in the center of the large croppings of rocks on a beautiful seascape painting. Whatever it is, this always works. This formula of finding the light, the shadow, and the local color, which is again the inherent color of an object, that tonal value, that inherent color of the object without the effects of light and shadow. When you introduce light and shadow, then you're going to have these three all together, these three components of subject matter will have those three facets. And there we have it. Shadow, local color, and the light. And then a very small bit of very bright highlight on the apple. And we can add a little bit of shadow and finish up the stem here. Let's do that. So we'll go with some French ultramarine blue and burnt umber, and we'll just make a quick stem. And we'll add a little bit of green into that burnt umber mix and French ultramarine, and we'll just have a little shadow there. All right, perfect. So that's an apple, very simple. Let's do a lemon. next to the apple here. But before that, let's take a break. And I always mention, hey, if you haven't subscribed, perfect time right below the video here. On the video screen, you'll see the subscribe button. Feel free to subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell. There's a little bell next to the subscribe button, and you can put all notifications. If you click on that, this way you'll always get the notifications on YouTube whenever you open up YouTube to come out to YouTube and look for videos and so forth. So you'll always see my videos come up and you'll see what we're working on. So feel free to come by and join along with us here. We're always doing interesting videos, everything watercolor. And sometimes we're doing things like this, subject matter, still life. Some other times we're doing street scenes, landscapes, seascapes, boats. We're doing the human form, portrait work. We do everything here, watercolor. And then sometimes we'll do a little offshoot or two, and we'll maybe do some ink and wash. Occasionally we might do some other things too with watercolors. We might do different techniques. This is more of a alla prima technique. Most of the time I'm doing alla prima, direct approach watercolor painting. Sometimes I'll do more water, like that, more of a water technique where we're using glazings, using tons of water, and then doing a glazing technique where you do a first wash, then a second wash, let it dry, third wash, let it dry, doing multiple glazings each time with the painting drying. So we do that too as well here. So that's why if you subscribe, you're going to learn lots of new techniques all the time here with the watercolor medium. Okay, so everyone's doing a great job here. Let's keep having fun, enjoying ourselves. Doing these small comps is just a great way to get better, improve your skills. And I've always been doing these, and I continue to do these small compositions to learn new things about watercolor. So join with me each week as we create new videos. And we'll be right back. We're just going to take a quick break, and we'll start on our lemon next. Okay? Be right back. Bye-bye. All right, we're back. We're going to complete our video. We'll do our lemon next. Hope you're enjoying this. So we're talking about, again, the light, shadow, and local color of an object. Could be an apple, a lemon, a building outside if you're doing a streetscape. Anything you can imagine, you're always going to have light, shadow, and local color with your subject matter. So we created our apple here first. Let's get with our lemon. We'll start to work on that a little bit. Let's just continue this line over here. Okay, let's do our lemon here. Okay, we did our contour drawing of our lemon. And I'm using another one of my, this is another chart I made. I have this in my studio. I pin this up on my studio wall. And this way I kind of always remember to focus in on my local color, my light and my shadow. And this is the same kind of chart that we're doing here. I just haven't drawn in the wording, but this is pretty much the chart. And you can always do a screen capture of this. If you stop the video right here, you can do a screen capture, screenshot of this, and you can have this and save this if you want, or you can create your own. That's kind of fun. Just doing one of these, create your own chart, do a couple, maybe you like to do something different, maybe like an orange or a lime, something else. You can do different things here, or you can do, even something that you can make a house, or you can do anything you can imagine you can do. You just create it, and then you just fill in your key points of where the light source is with your light insignia. We always do that here on my channel. We make our light insignia. Then we say, all right, that we have that. Local color is the inherent color of the object, regardless of light and shadow. And then you have your shadow side, which is on the opposite side of the light. And then here I just notated it. I think this was actually from a previous video I did, this chart here. So we're just covering it again. It's a very important factor and point with watercolors. So we'll continue on here. So we did our lemon here. I can make this a lime too. This could be a lime. Maybe we'll make this a lime. So now for the lime, let's use sap green. And maybe a little bit of, before I do that, I rinse off my brush. And then I dry it off a little bit on some tissue. Maybe a little bit of French ultramarine with that sap green, just to make it a little darker over here on the right side for our shadow side, and then maybe even a little bit of ultramarine violet, purple. So that'll be our shadow over here on the right side, the color. The green here, the middle, this will be our local color. And then we'll have, to lighten up, we'll just add some water and maybe a little bit of cad lemon yellow, just to make it a little bit interesting there. So this will be the light side, local color, shadow side here. Okay, let's pick up our paint. And we'll go in there too with some straight paint. And we just get our brush, keep it down on the paper if we can, for the most part. Try to keep our brush down on the paper the whole time. There we go, like that. Then we're going to get some light effect. So we make this lighter over here. And if you even want to go with more light, we take our tissue and just blot up a touch. There we go. Then we just add that much more light to our light side. Then we can go with our shadow side, sap green, French ultramarine blue, and a touch of purple. Then we have our shadow side. And if it's not dark enough, no problem, add a little more French ultramarine blue and purple with a little touch of more green. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to go with some raw umber and burnt umber. And maybe a little French ultramarine too. Let's do our shadow. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll put it right together, fuse that together so that it's all then we might dab in a little bit and get a couple splashes. There we go. And then we can do some okay, now that we have these colors here, let's use these. For our background. We can add some purple to that. Now if we go with a dark wash over here, like that, that will make that light more exciting. So if you add that little bit of dark like I'm doing here, and you can do this anywhere in your painting, no matter what you're painting. Doesn't matter what the subject matter is, you can add these little exciting bits of dark and light in your paintings to enhance things. And then we're going to and then we'll pick up some of that red there. That was alizarin crimson. And then I just kind of have a little fun and make a little scrubby kind of look to it for for the background. The background is not that important. It's just there to... You can blot up sometimes too, your background washes if you think they're too much. Like that. And I figured I'd like to tie this all together just to make it almost like one painting. All right, so this is having a lot of fun, just working with our compositions here. Some simple fruit and vegetables and whatever you have, you can create these type of fun exercises with any type of subject matter you might like to paint. So here we are using the apple and a lime, and we're using the same approach each time. So now with the lime, we'll just do a quick go over it. We'll go over it one more time with our just some paper here. We created a lime, and we said we wanted to go with the local color, which is this is the inherent color of the lime. Then we wanted to go with a darker purple and French ultramarine blue and sap green mixed together for the shadow side of our lime. So it's darker over here. And then we said we would add a little bit of cad lemon yellow mixed with green for our light side. We left a highlight on our lime. And you can paint like this too. You don't always have to draw. If you don't like to draw that much, you can always just paint your watercolors. I definitely I suggest always paint a drawing before painting, but some people don't like to draw as much, so that's fine too. So I'm just painting without drawing here, just to kind of... So that's basically the idea of it with the light. And then we tapped a little bit to get more light with our tissue. And then we did our... We did our shadow with some burnt umber and the blue and green, the darks. And there we have it. And then our background, of course, is, we can just do some background here quick. And that's the simple, just quick painting of local color, the light, and the shadow. The three components of an object that's got light and shadow, as well as a local color, depending on the light source. All right, so I hope everyone had fun. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You can join along. We're here every week making new videos. I hope you'll try these compositions. You'll have a lot of fun doing this. It'll build up your painter skills as you use your brush and your paints and you're creating light and shadow and local color. You'll just have a fun time, and there's no stress too. It's not like we're painting a finished painting here. We're just having fun doing some compositions. So I hope you do that too as well. Just do lots of compositions. throughout your time during the week or the month as you're planning out how much you're going to paint. Maybe you're going to paint once a week or, 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe make one of the 2 days some fun practice like this, some small compositions, and then maybe you'll do a finished painting and then frame that one and so forth. But definitely give these a try. I hope you'll try. Please leave comments. Let me know how you make out with these, if these are working for you, if you like these. And if you like these videos too, thumbs them up. And if you want me to do, create more videos like this, doing the more smaller compositions, going over more techniques and methods of watercolor, let me know. I'll do more of those too. And we'll see you soon on the next video. Bye-bye.